Hello, I'm Marco Olivotto and I'm an Italian photographer and retoucher specialized in color correction. I've studied applied color theory in Dan Margulies classes, and this has led me to teach the subject of color in many different situations and on very different levels. I am an ambassador for renowned brands as ISO, whose high-end monitors are among the best in the world, and also for MindTheColor, a Photoshop plugin which can turn your workflow inside out, of course, for the better. So, I welcome you to the videos devoted to MindTheColor, where I am going to show some of the amazing things one can do with this plugin, currently in its 2.5 release. I say some because the plugin is so packed with features that it would be next to impossible to show all of them one by one. MindTheColor is a tool you need to explore yourself in order to find the techniques most suitable to your workflow, also because there usually are different paths you can follow to reach your goal. You should consider the following examples as suggestions on how to tackle some frequent problems you may encounter in your work. Always remember, though, that each image is different and there is no real shortcut to a perfect result if you aim for quality. Finally, before we start, I'd like to reassure you. If you see a cyan hue in my hair, it's not your monitor giving up the ghost. It actually is cyan, and no, I didn't use MindTheColor. For the rest you're going to see, well, you have to thank the plugin. When you launch the MindTheColor plugin, you are presented with a panel which counts no less than 14 tabs. The first one you will see is not the first in the list, but the fifth. It is called Grid. This choice reflects the idea that Grid is one of the most powerful and useful tools available, so you are likely to use it often. If you want to see the single sections in order, though, here they come. A retouch contains 32 buttons which allow you to launch some quick procedures. These do a lot of different things, from implementing 3 different variants of frequency separation, which is a fundamental technique in retouching, as you know, to softening techniques like soft skin, to applying film grain, well, you name them. While this is very interesting, it would be also very time-consuming to explain the behavior of each button step by step, so I'd better leave this for a video devoted to this section only. There is a remarkable section, though, which deserves a mention. It is the Color Presets section. This is where you may store your favorite settings for given adjustments and recall them with one click only, a bit like you would with Lightroom presets. For now, just remember it is here, because we'll come back to it later. Volume is a section devoted to shape and detail, as the name suggests. If you prefer, here is where you can work on local contrast. A lot of what the controls do is related to sharpening, especially in the so-called high roll-on area, where you combine high sharpening radiuses with a low amount of effect to give the subject of your photograph a more three-dimensional look. We'll come back to it later. LAB is a very simple but extremely powerful section because it actually implements LAB curves without leaving RGB. You are probably aware of the fact that while LAB is available in Photoshop, when you want to use it, you need to convert your photographs out of RGB and into LAB. No problem except for one. Adjustment layers will not survive the conversion, and this forces you to either work on a duplicate version of your image or use smart objects, which can lead to a more complex workflow. One of the real advantages offered by MindTheColor is that you can now apply LAB corrections, that is, curves in virtual L, A and B channels, while staying in RGB. Wheel is something new for Photoshop, although people working in the video field know it very well. The wheels have been a basic tool for color correction in video for ages, but there's no reason why they should not be used in photography as well, for either corrections or creative purposes. The principle is simple but clever. The image is split in 3 different areas called shadows, midtones and highlights, which correspond to the darker, intermediate and lighter parts of the image respectively. For each part you may change hue, saturation and lightness independently, and this opens up a ton of interesting options. The wheels are useful to control global contrast, but they can also be put to work when we want to remove a cast from a certain area of luminosity, or, why not, when we want to tinge such area because our idea of grading requires it. Grid, as we said, is probably the most powerful and straightforward tool in the plugin, and it can be used in a number of ways. We can use it to literally turn a color into another, and some of its configurations can become seriously complex, but the payoff is the enormous amount of control we gain on color, also due to the use of a very interesting color mode called HSP. HSP is similar to HSL and HSB, which are well known, but takes perceived brightness into account, and that's what the letter P stands for. For this reason, it yields results which are a lot more natural than those produced by traditional methods, and it is next to impossible to achieve some of these otherwise in Photoshop. A real breakthrough then, which we will explore in a while. Curve M is a matching tool. If you've ever tried to make 2 pictures look similar, you know how difficult this can be. This is the case when you have 2 photographs taken in the same environment and conditions, which for some reason show different colors, but also when you have 2 completely different pictures and you would like to match one to the other. Photoshop has never been a good performer in this field, so this is a very welcome tool too. Immediately following, there are 4 tabs which may look similar, but which are very specialized instead. They are called Hue Hue, Hue Set, Hue Loom and Loom Set. In a way, the first 3 are similar because they allow to change the hue, saturation and luminance of a given hue in a very selective way. This may come in very handy when we want to change an isolated color in a picture like the one you're seeing. We can change the hue of the magenta flowers very easily using Hue Hue. We may decide to push the flowers a bit more towards the red, while leaving the green of the leaves untouched. As you can see, this tool can do it without complex selections, which are sometimes awkward to make. Hue Set does the same, but we change the saturation of colors of a given hue. And Hue Loom allows us to change the luminance. The 4th function of this block, namely Loom Set, allows us to selectively change the saturation of a certain luminosity area, be it in the shadows, the midtones or the highlights, while leaving the rest of the image untouched. This can be very useful in some cases. The following 3 sections are useful to produce masks based on luminance, tint, or hue if you prefer, and saturation. And that's why they are labeled L mask, T mask, and S mask respectively. As you know well, a mask is used to selectively isolate a specific area in a picture, and while you sometimes need to make a mask based on some specific shape, there are times when you need to address areas with a given characteristic, the blues, for example, or the highlights. This is where these tools come in handy. The last section, called Utility, is by no means the less important. On the contrary, it introduces some extremely useful tools, especially when you need to visualize the characteristics of an image. Photoshop only has one old and rather dumb tool, which is the much hyped histogram. Video people, as is often the case, like to do it better and usually don't look at histograms. They use vector scopes, waveforms, and also a tool called Parade. All these, with the choice of 2 different waveforms, are available in the Utility section, which also offers some functions to easily manipulate files when you are done with your post-production. There is also a very important button in this tab, and that is Reset All. As you may surmise, this brings all the parameters in the whole plugin at their default value. It is also worth remembering that this reset works only with an open image. So, it took us a while to quickly list all the possibilities offered by MindTheColor, but it was worth having a look. Let's now start to examine how we can put the plugin to work. As I said, there are so many options that it would require an inordinate amount of time to get to the bottom of each one, but I've carefully chosen some examples which I hope you'll find interesting, so let's go!